Hi, welcome back. I'm Lee Sharon, and this is Old Tavern Farm. Today, I am preparing for the next couple of weeks. It's kind of gray and rainy and snowy, and the exciting part though is that our youngest son is getting married in 2 weeks, and so I have the honor and privilege to be catering the reception, just a very small reception here at our farm. And so one of the things I was going to start with is preparing ahead, which if you're in the business, you know that we use this trick all the time. It's called batch cooking. And what batch cooking does is allow you to make certain things ahead of time and get them ready to go and freeze them and have them ready to make the day before, finish them up the day before or the morning of. So what I have started doing, my first batch cooking project for the big wedding is a little tiny wedding, but it's a lovely wedding and we're excited. So, is meatballs. I'm gonna serve meatballs with some rolls. People can eat them just with toothpicks or on a sandwich or anything like that. Meatballs are super, super versatile for any kind of event, whether it's just a family dinner or it's a wedding reception or a cocktail party or a New Year's Eve party or it's cold outside and we don't want to go to a restaurant party. Anything like that. Meatballs are fantastic. They're easy to make, they freeze wonderfully, and they're just fantastic. So I have 3 bags made, and I have cooled them down in the refrigerator. You should cool them once you make them. You gotta cool stuff, and then you can store it right in the freezer. So I have these 3 bags, and then I'm gonna make another batch of these to have just in case. And I'm gonna show you how to do your own homemade meatballs. You don't have to go to the store and buy a big bag of expensive round meat sort of things with lots of fillers. There's actual meat in here. Okay, so if you'll just follow along, get your pad of paper, and I will give you the recipe and the technique, and we'll get going.
I begin my meatballs with 2 separate components: 5 pounds of ground beef and a bowl of a binder mixture. The binder mixture consists of 6 cups of roughly torn or chopped leftover or stale bread, whole wheat or white, whatever you have and whatever you like. Also, I've added 3 eggs and seasonings to my preference. My seasonings are 3 tablespoons of Italian seasoning, a tablespoon of salt, and a teaspoon of ground black pepper. I've also added basil pesto and chive pesto. But this is your chance to be as creative as you like. Add the spices and seasonings that you enjoy and make it your own. You can also use any kind of ground beef, pork, turkey, chicken, any kind of ground meat that you like. I will put reduced quantity recipe into the description box as well. At this point, I will mix together these 2 main components using my hands. They are impeccably clean, of course, and nothing is a substitute for the human hand in the kitchen. I've tried to do this process on a mixer, and it just doesn't come out as well. I simply lift up from the bottom, pull over to the top, and make sure there's no leftover pockets of meat or binder mixture floating around. I want everything to be mixed nice and evenly. Once I've finished the mixing method, I'm going to take my handy 1-ounce black-handled scoop, and I'm going to scoop drops of my meatball mixture onto a prepared sheet pan that's been lined with parchment paper. And I'm going to place them right together. They're not going to expand or rise. They're simply going to stay roughly the same size. So there's no need to leave any spaces around them. This will allow me to do as many meatballs at a time as possible. I will fill the sheet pan with as many meatballs as I can, switch out the pan for the second pan that I have underneath, and continue the scooping process. Once I have finished the scooping process and have both sheet pans ready, I will bake them at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. After I've gotten my sheet pans in the oven, I clean and sanitize my work surface. Because I was using raw meat, there's always the chance for cross-contamination. So I clean down my work surface and make sure everything's nice and tidy for the next step. Once the meatballs have finished baking, I prepare my surface with some upended smaller sheet pans in order to keep the hot baking pans from burning my counter. It's always useful to prepare a landing zone for hot items coming out of the oven or off the stove so that you don't accidentally burn your counter. I'm going to allow these meatballs to cool for a few minutes, and then I'm going to remove them to plastic Ziploc freezer bags. One useful tip is to take the top of the bag and fold it back so that if anything drips as you're moving it into the bag, it will be folded back inside the bag instead of dripping on the outside where it can get all over your refrigerator and your freezer. I try not to pack my bags too tightly so that they can cool quickly in the refrigerator once I've finished packing them. There's no need to pack them too tightly. I have plenty of bags, and I will leave plenty of room. I will store these bagged meatballs in my refrigerator overnight to cool down completely before I remove them to my freezer. If I were to put the hot bags in the freezer, I would raise the temperature of the freezer, so it's always best to chill things overnight before freezing. I hope you go and make some of your own meatballs and do as many as you possibly want to and as creatively as you like. Thank you for visiting.